then he said, my mother said, I think we better get going. I got to take Juanito to school. Got to take him to a real town somewhere. He says, okay, I know where to go, Lucha. But where we're going to go, Felipe? We got to go over there, down the mountain. And down the mountain they have the best climate in the whole wide world. They got oceans and waves and beautiful caracoles and seashells. You're going to love it. But where is that, Felipe? We got to go down the mountain. But what is the name of that place? San Diego, Lucha. We got to go to San Diego. So we went down to San Diego, and that's kind of where I started going to school. So beginnings in little ranchitos, beginnings in the fields, beginnings with papers and without papers, beginnings with houses made out of whatever we could find, beginnings with our own stories of coming from Mexico during the revolution, beginnings of the stories of our grandmothers and my mother's sisters and my uncles, how she told me stories of their lives by using a big old torn up album of photographs from the 1800s to the early 1900s. She used to show it to me and say, this, Juanito, this is your uncle. And always remember your uncle. His name was Roberto Martinez Quintana, and he went to the army in 1920 in Fort Bliss. I go, Fort Bliss, Army, 1920, okay. So that's how I learned those stories and telling stories and the songs of my mother. And I want you, we're all here to encourage you to value your parents, to value your grandparents, to value your ancestors, to value your own stories, and to value most of all your voices. Because you do have a beautiful voice. Even though there's a school over there, do not think your beautiful voice is up there. Your beautiful voice is right here. Do not think your voice is in the stores. Beautiful things in the stores, but your voice is only with you. Do not think it's going to be in the future. No, there's nothing there because it does not exist. Your voice is right now with you, and it's beautiful. And all you have to do is let it be its beautiful, free self. So let's give you a big mano. A hand for our people right here, okay? A bigger mano than that. A bigger mano than that. Every day, celebrate your voice. 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 Celebrate your voice in Riverside. Celebrate your voice in Colton. Celebrate your voice in Rialto. Celebrate your voice in Riverside. Celebrate your voice in Redlands, Tierra Roja, Redlands. Celebrate your voice in the beautiful hill, Loma Linda. Celebrate your voice on the freeway, but watch where you're driving. Celebrate your voice when you get home, but make sure you park the car. Celebrate your voice every day, even in Thanksgiving, and say gracias and salamat, maraming salamat, and Thanksgiving, and celebrate your voice when you eat that poor little turkey who sacrificed his life just for you. Celebrate your voice when you make enchiladas and tamales. Celebrate your voice when you talk to your mom and your dad and your grandma and your tío and your aunt who's always angry. Celebrate your voice when you get home and you spy your little self and you finish a long day of work, a long day of school, a long day of doing a lot of things that you think you really didn't have to do, but you had to do, and they just put so much pressure on you and builds a lot of anxiety inside of you, and you're finally done with all that stuff. Celebrate your voice at that particular time, and celebrate your voice when you're having some good chow, some good rice, some good steamed rice, some good red beans, some good hot sauce, some good picante, medium picante, light picante, no picante, super picante. Celebrate your voice when you get yourself all styled up and ready to get on out. Celebrate your voice when you're just cooling off and cooling down and taking it easy, like A, B, C, like you and me, like si senor, like si senora, like no senora, no senora. Celebrate your voice any way it comes out, whether it comes out super elevated, high, intelligentsia, like therefore and quintessential and eloquent and elegant. And so celebrate your voice when you're coming down that mountain like, órale, ¿qué pasó? Pues como que no, pues yo tengo hambre, chihuahua. Celebrate your voice like back home, like they do back home, and celebrate your voice like when you're at the university, like when you talk to one of the faculty right there. You say, "Hello, Mr. Faculty, Mr. Professor. I got my literary production notes right now with me." Celebrate your voice every day, even when you're dreaming. Celebrate your voice when you say, "Is that you? That cannot be true. I haven't seen you in such a long time. I'm just a dream. I am the moon. I am the sun. I am at the core of creation." Celebrate your voice at that time too. Everybody say hello. Hello. Everybody say, "I got a voice." I got a voice. Everybody say, "I love the beautiful trees." I love the beautiful I love Gandhi. I love Gandhi. I love peace. I love Martin Luther King. I love all the freedom fighters. I love all the women feministas. I love all the men who are finally saying, "Yes, I do." Love all the feministas. Love your beautiful voices. Love your beautiful voices. Celebrate your beautiful voices. From here, all across California. From here, all across the United States. From here, back to your ancestors, forward to now, and continuing on forever, only if you celebrate your voice, and only if you share your voice, will your stories and the stories of all of us be remembered with beauty. Muchas gracias.
You are so awesome. Thank you so much. I think I will share a poem that is very much about unity, just to tie in with Juan Felipe's beautiful poem about unity. This comes from a little collection I put together when I decided to just close my eyes and point to words in the dictionary and then write poems around them. And this is from the word zone melting that I pointed to, which is a term from 1959, meaning a technique for the purification of a crystalline material, and especially a metal, in which the molten region travels through the material to be refined, picks up impurities at its advancing edge, and then allows the purified part to recrystallize at its opposite edge. So that's the word I pointed at and thought, well, how can I make a poem about this word? And this is what I came up with. Zone melting. Let the zones melt between our two skins, between my mouth and your tongue, between your thought and mine, the knuckles of our brains unfisting into open palms. Let the zones melt between seed and stone, between leaf and bone, between every concrete or membrane wall that dares to separate one atom from another. Let the zones melt between word and silence, between the in-breath and out, between each letter of the alphabet. 26 sounds spun down to a single word, one stunning molecular buzz. Thanks.
Well, thinking a little bit about the idea of zone melting, thank you, Joe. I have a poem that the title comes from a book called Like Water for Chocolate, and that too is sort of a form of zone melting, the chocolate melting into the water and it becoming one. And so I wrote this poem as kind of an expression of how I felt about this line from the movie, or from the book before the movie. Only the pots know the boiling points of their broths. In the kitchen, we only eat with oars. In the kitchen, there is no noise except the sound of running water and a shrill screaming as the kitten noses the child, who then cuts himself with a sharp knife. In the kitchen, there are no knives. Did I say there are no knives? In the kitchen, there is a kitten, and in the kitten is a small child, and in the small child, there is a fist that is eating something smaller, more like a jelly donut. In the kitchen, I am not the small child, I am the knife. In the kitchen, there is no kitten. Instead, there is a noise that sounds more like a muffled cough, but is really me at the stove, scraping and scraping the edges.
Okay, okay. Oh, right. Ooh, wow. Things are about to happen, people. Things are about to happen again. And you're going to really enjoy this. Let me tell you about just a little bit about... you know, it's good to respond to what's going on. For some funny reason, I know it happens to me. I just I'm involved with myself. It happens to me a lot, most of the time. And I forget that there's human beings around me. And I forget that things are going on. And I forget to respond as a human being. I have a lot of ideas. Oh, that's fabulous. But I forget to respond as a human being. And so human response is the most miraculous act. Positive human response is the most miraculous thing we can engage in. Because it's at the center of who we really, really, truly are. It's number one. Everything else is number two. So when things happen outside of us that are terrible, it's beautiful. Obviously, beautiful, beautiful things. Incredible. Just this moment here is incredible. Everyone here is incredible. We've kind of grown to believe that we're just ordinary automaton, physical compilations of cellular networks. But we really are beautiful. You really are beautiful, miraculous human beings. So when we engage in positive human response with what's going on, something that's difficult and tragic, like the Sandy Hook children's unimaginable massacre, shootings, or the Boston bombings of the runners, or what's happened recently in the Philippines, that terrible, terrible typhoon came in and destroyed the way typhoons do. And the peoples of Tacloban and that area in general were blown away. Well, it's hard to get there. But as human beings, we can respond from right here. And all we have to do is use your beautiful voices. Write a few phrases. And you can just read them out loud. They don't have to be published. We keep on thinking everything has to be published or awarded or okayed by somebody. Well, that's okay. But really, we are free. So all you have to do is respond. Dear Tacloban, I am thinking of you. I really wish I could be there and bring you some water. And I really wish I could take this food I have today to you. But I'm right here.